All right, so my name is Peter Costanzo. I head up IMAGINIT's facilities management practice. My marketing department thought it was important that you see that I can wear a tie sometimes. I'm not from the AEC community. I'm a geek. I have a bachelor's in physics. I've been selling IT for 20 years. The group that I work primarily with has been doing facilities management for about 30 years. And BIM is something nice and new and exciting, but we really look at things as a data problem. Our marketing department also put together this nice infographic for us a couple months ago, which talked about one of the challenges we see in BIM. And you guys know this story better than I do. BIM is changing the way the AEC community is working together, right? And so is technology. And there's been an adoption of that over the last couple years. Well, it takes time to design a building, so the owners are much further behind the rest of you. And there are different gaps in between the two of them. So we said, hey, you know what? We're going to do a survey. Let's drill into that a little bit more and see where some of the things that are happening are. So the first thing, just want to let you know who we surveyed. We surveyed our clients. We're a very large Autodesk reseller, and as a result, we got a very high respondents of different AEC firms. And some owners, we worked with Catalyst and the McMorrow Reports, which is a group that does research in facilities and has different publications. What's interesting then, I'm going to look at what the AEC firms told us at a high level and what the owners told us at a high level. So the first thing, we asked the AEC firms, do you know what types of information your owners want? So 27% said yes. So if you got a 27% on your test, that's an F, right? That's pretty lousy. The funny thing is, I can tell you, since I work with owners all the time, I will tell you that at least half of the time, they're not in sync with the AEC firms they're working with. So I'd take that number and I'd cut it in half. So an interesting thing here as we look, we have this great new technology, but we're not communicating it very well. And part of the problem is, so we sell facilities management systems, so my salespeople ask a leading question, which is worth $1,000 every time they walk in. They say, hey, Mr. Owner, you need to track space or assets or whatever, where's your data? And the owner laughs, because the data typically, they don't have good data and it isn't up to date. If you think about BIM, BIM offers the owner, theoretically, the holy grail. Not only can they have information about their facility, they can have detailed information in electronic format. So the next thing we asked to the AEC community, hey, what are you providing the owners? So raise your hand if you're doing BIM. Who's doing BIM? All right, so more of us than less of us. Okay, so how are we delivering it? Oh, most of the stuff we're sending is in paper or in AutoCAD. So we have this great technology, and we're losing data as we go along the process. So then we asked the AEC firms, hey, well, what's your biggest challenge as you start to work with the owners? And the first thing, by glaringly far, is the owners don't know what to ask for. And if you talk to different owners, you get all sorts of things. And then you got in discussions of level of details, and then you get in discussions of standards. And the way I paint this for AEC firms, we do a lot of consulting with firms, helping them set up internal BIM standards. And I know that firms had a hard enough time doing that internally. Well, when you're an owner, you're dealing with a ton of different firms with a bunch of different data. So they've got all sorts of stuff flowing into them. We're going to flip the side, look at the FM organizations. And I joke, they're the final frontier in IT, okay? If you take the last two and you sum them up and you look at the Excel spreadsheets, most facility management departments are far, far behind in terms of IT. So even if you've got BIM on the other side, it's like them drinking through a fire hose. Then we asked them, what type of information do you want to see from a model? And space and assets is what we expected to be the #1 and #2 thing which came out. But the other thing which indicates to me that the owner really doesn't understand about BIM is because the owner expected to see the maintenance schedule in the building information model. And I can make arguments with all sorts of different technology firms about where this data should be, but typically the guys doing the maintenance are the guys that need the maintenance procedures, and that data is not in a model. Okay, so again, what does this tell us? Owners don't really know what they need. We looked at this different, and we said, well, what's your biggest problem? And there was a concern about cost, which kind of cracks me up because most of the AEC community is using it anyways. The owners just don't know how to ask for it. So in closing up in my 26 seconds, BIM, you got to think about it as a process, not a technology. Technology comes secondary. In order for BIM to work, you got to be able to answer 3 questions. The first is, who's going to use the data? The second is, what data are you going to collect? And the third is, how is that data going to be maintained? Thank you.